I can't see a Saturday. So thinking is nothing magic. It's what you've been exposed to and asking questions. So I said to myself, how are you going to change all these people? I said, I don't know. That's the first thing you have to learn to say, I don't know. Do you think we'll ever get to Mars? Nah, not in 1,000 years. That's your opinion. Just say, I don't know enough about aeronautic space travel or the conditions on Mars to give you an answer. We don't talk that way. When we see a new airplane without wings, we say it doesn't have wings, it'll never fly. The question is, how do you propose to lift off the ground without wings? I'm a layman, not technical. If you do that, there's no argument. But if you give everybody a right to their own opinion, which is we're brought up to believe that that's the right thing, give everybody the right to their own opinion. If you live across the street from me and I see 10 guys coming out of your apartment, I can have all kinds of opinions. You can be a language instructor, an art instructor, but if you give everybody the right to their own opinion, you damage communication. Just when you ask, do you think we'll ever get to Mars? They would say, it's not my field, I know nothing about rocketry, I can't answer that. That's the way people talk in the future. They don't say, it'll never work. Scientists in the past used to write books on why man can't fly. And the Wright brothers never read those books, so they built a flying machine. They were bicycle mechanics. Now, the Wright brothers really didn't just do that. In the early days in France, some guy designed a set of wings that stuck out 3 feet on each side. And he jumped off the Eiffel Tower, and he died. And his brother-in-law wrote, make wings larger next time. There's no way to know. Nobody ever does anything wrong. They use whatever knowledge they have, and their decisions sometimes don't work. Now, let's talk about that. When this guy's brother-in-law wrote, make wings larger next time, somebody made larger wings, but he didn't jump off the top of the Eiffel Tower. He jumped off a lower region. And he flew for a while, both wings went like that. And somebody, a fisherman, with a lot of rope says, you got to brace your wings so they don't go like that. Oh, thank you. So men build upon other men. This is going to be hard to accept. Man, this includes me, cannot think or reason. All that's bullshit. If you're not exposed, if an Eskimo, if you ask him, what do you want? You can have anything. He says, well, I like a strong igloo. He's not going to ask for a prefabricated building with photoelectric cells on it. He can't ask for that because he's never been exposed to it. Then there's another bullshit word which is going to hurt a lot of you, love. Now let me tell you what's the matter with it. Is there anybody here that's perfectly satisfied with everything you've ever done? Of course not. So sometimes you like yourself, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you like yourself very much. Sometimes you dislike yourself. So when you get married, it's the same thing. Sometimes you love your husband and wife very much. Sometimes a little less. Sometimes not at all. You blow them out. So love is a fluctuating thing. It's not a fixed thing. Do you understand that? Okay. So if you're brought up with twisted values, like a guy named Albert Fish, which the nation at that time, U.S., believed he ate 45 children, and the public wanted to tear him to pieces, because they were brought up that way. But a doctor named Wortham, a psychiatrist, said, I want to find out what made him that way so we can avoid those conditions in the future. That's much better. When your car veers to the right, you don't kick it and beat it up. Either your tire pressure's uneven or something's wrong with the steering column. You try to understand. When children beat up other people and hurt other people like a bully, that's part of their conditioning, their associative memory, the system they live under, which doesn't correct that. Schools do not teach you much. They're mostly concerned with propaganda. Most schools don't teach you how to live, find meaning in your own life, how to disagree without getting angry. That's what's needed. And as long as the world goes on this way, you're going to have cycles of war, depression, economic drop, because you believe in right and wrong, good and bad. What is really needed is the intelligent management of the Earth's resources for the benefit of everyone. Now, the only way you can do that is through technology. Everything that you have, your lights, your air conditioning, your automobile, your airplanes, all technology. Politicians can't give you that. Politicians don't know what to do. They make laws. Now that's no way to change. Say no to drugs. Well, that's not going to stop a person from selling drugs as long as there's money in it. But if you do away with the money system and build access centers where anyone can have access to the necessities of life without filling out 1,000,000 forms or appealing to Fresco, it's all available to everyone. Everything on earth is made by people that worked hard to achieve that. So a young man at Princeton got up and he said, "I don't like your system at all." I said, "I can't do anything with what you're saying. What is it that you don't like?" He said, "Well, you want to give people things for nothing." I said, "Were you born in America?" He said, "Yes." You got the airplane, the telephone, the radio, airplanes, ships, all for nothing. You didn't have anything to do with that, I'm sure. Right? So I said, "Does it hurt you?" He said, "No, but I don't like the idea of people getting things for nothing." So I said, "Are you paying your way through Princeton?" He said, "No, my dad is." I said, "Does that bother you? Does that hurt you?" He says, "I still don't believe people ought to get anything for nothing." So I said, okay. Your dad is wealthy, as I understand it. He said, "Yes. When he dies, you want his money to go to the Heart Fund and the Cancer Fund, not to you, because you don't believe anybody ought to get anything for nothing." He said, "Just a minute." Well, they laughed him off the platform. So when I say people hardly know what they're talking about, because they're not brought up to be sane. They're brought up to fit in with the establishment. So it's very hard to ask people, what do you vote for? I believe in democracy. There's never been a democracy anywhere in the world. There can't be a democracy if people have different incomes. If you get minimum wage and your kid gets sick, you can't take him to a doctor because you can't afford it. So he buys a used car. The used car breaks down more than a used car, and he's up to debt under there. He has to take his kid to a clinic, lose a day's pay, and he's on minimum wage to start with. So how do you look at that? How can you have a democracy if mothers are not educated on how to feed their kids nutritional food? Today, they pump chickens to grow faster, put ingredients in food to color it to make it look better, and add artificial flavoring in many instances. And so you don't get the best food. In the future, the medics would be concerned with and the nutritional experts would be concerned about the food people get. Now, a lot of you have never heard of this book, 100 Million Guinea Pigs. Did anyone ever hear it? Nobody. In America, it was a bestseller. It attacked the drug industries and showed you why the drug industries didn't use celery juice to lower blood pressure because there's no money in it. So they make these little pills, they get $2 or $3 for it. This book exposed the drug industry. And the American public, it was a bestseller, said we got to have a Pure Food and Drug Administration, people that monitor that and watch over you. So they did build that, they got that. But today it's managed by the drug industry. The people that run it used to work for the drug industry. So you see, everything becomes corrupt in the monetary system. I'm sorry about that. So when I say to you, go to your big department stores or your food stores, you'll see lots of stuff. We are now capable of producing in abundance. During the war, we gave soldiers airplanes.